what you say, Get money. 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 What you say,
If you ask the question, does sex sell music? If you were listening, if you could see the studio audience in here while that little clip was playing, everybody was getting into the groove. And yes, I believe the answer might be yes. Does it make somebody lots of money? Well, little Kim says indeed it does, and she's here to prove it. I want you to meet her mom also. This is Ruby Jones Mitchell, who is little Kim's mama. Welcome. A little bit about that before we talk to Mom, because I can't wait to hear what your mother thinks about your sexy videos and the sexy lyrics. And hey, some people would say not sexy, but just downright raw and explicit. Why do you choose that type of music, and does it sell? Is there an attraction? Obviously, I think there.
Well, it's not that it was like it was chosen for me, but it was just something that I knew how to do, and I wrote about it from my past life. And I do think that sex does sell music. I mean, perfect example, Madonna, Luke, Elvis Presley, Too Short. I mean, there are a lot of people who have made money from it, but I don't encourage anybody to just go and write about sex because it's gonna sell. Do what you feel naturally.
When your daughter said, Mom, I'm gonna make it big. I'm gonna change my name, it's gonna be Little Kim, I'm gonna make lots of people sing and snap their fingers, and I'm gonna make lots of money. But I'm gonna sing about sex explicitly. What was your first reaction?
Well, actually, it didn't happen that way. She kind of this just sort of happened. It wasn't something that she talked about. I know from a child, she always was interested in the music industry. She always wanted to sing. She was always getting dressed up and, just doing her little thing in the mirror, and
she's doing a lot in front of a lot of things now, and it doesn't. When you see, you don't go, girl, you stop doing that. You don't feel that way.
There are times when I do say to her, because I've listened to her album, and some of the lyrics are a little bit strong. But sometimes I do say to her, girl, I should have taken you to church more. But but all in all, first and foremost, she's a good artist, and she's an adult, and this is what she chose to do. So I'm here, and I support her as much as I possibly can.
Look at me. You said that a lot of your lyrics and a lot of the reasons that you've chosen being explicit with sex is because of your past life. What do you mean by that?
Well, on my album, Hardcore, I talk a lot about my past life. For example, in songs like Spin a Little Dough, My Feeling, and Not Tonight, you can hear about it. I give it flavor to make it sound good in the song, but you get my album, you'll know.
So tell us a little bit about who you are. How did this little girl grow up? Where did you grow up?
I grew up in Brooklyn.
In Brooklyn?
Yeah.
And what kind of life did you have? Tell us a little bit.
Street life.
Street life? What was that life like, Mom? Tell us a bit about what that was like, raising a daughter. Because I think it's really important that we understand that a lot of our young artists are drawing upon their life experiences, and that's something you can't take from folks. So help us understand a little bit about little Kim's growing up.
Well, actually, when she talks about, the hard life that she had as a child, I was a young mother, and I was going through a very difficult divorce, and there was just a lot of problems there. The situation wasn't all that great, so therefore, I had to move on, per se, and in doing so, my children kind of suffered as a result of it. But, in this world, we all have choices, and sometimes we make bad choices, but just because you make bad choices, that don't mean that you have to just stay stuck, there. You have to just, move on, and that's what I chose to do, and thank God today, we're in a better space. We had to rise above all of that, and like I say, I love my daughter dearly, and I'm here to support her as much as I can.
What is, People really appreciate that because I think one of the things that we're seeing here is no matter what you think about what your daughter is doing as an artist, what I think most people do appreciate is seeing you supporting her through even having to answer some tough questions, which you may have to do today, Lil' Kim, because a lot of folks say, oh my goodness, Lil' Kim's gonna come over to my house next and be singing through my kid's bedroom door. What would you do as a parent? And I'd also like to know what sex meant to you growing up, because a lot of young girls, like this 12-year-old right here who loves you to death, she listens to your music. You may be surprised, parents, but this little girl told me she listens to it on a Walkman and mom and dad don't know what she's listening to. I'd like to know how you're influencing that young lady. Also next, why one New York City police officer vehemently opposes Lil' Kim's sexually explicit music. We'll talk with more of us in the audience, too, who were snapping and clapping to Lil' Kim right after this.
You can blow out the sexual organs, but it's still, and folks is naked. Come on.
Robert, what do you say?
Let's wake up. There is no clean version. Play the music at a proper time when children are not listening.